Hi, and good morning. Thanks for joining us for Virtual Coffee and Real Estate Scoop with Stacy. We're so excited today to have a special guest, Jason Flynn. Jason is with Prodeck Construction LLC. Welcome, Jason.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, absolutely. Thank you for being someone who has not only served us, but served our clients. We're excited to hear more today and share with our listeners about Prodeck Construction and a little bit about you. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got started?
Sure. So I was in the industry working for another company, helping build another company in the area. The gentleman decided to get out. So my partner, he's been a builder for over 20 years, we decided to partner up a few years back. It's been a while, and it's been a great journey. And I have the expertise of running the front end of the business. He has the expertise of actually running the construction side. So I wanted to be in a perfect match. And that's how we got involved and gotten started. And we serve the Northern Virginia area. We do quite a bit of work.
Mm-hmm. Great. Tell me a little bit about, some of the questions that our clients have when they're thinking about making a purchase on a home. A lot of times they say, we really want outside space. We want a deck. We want a patio. We want a porch. We want these things. And we do our very best to explain to them that that's something that could potentially be added later. And so maybe let's look at the neighborhood. Let's look at the bones of the house. Let's look at some other things. And hopefully, if it doesn't already have a great deck, porch, patio, we can add that later. So that's where you come in. So tell us a little bit about the process of going through that. A lot of questions they typically have is, are you licensed? Are you bonded? Are you insured? And I tell them that's something, they need to ask a contractor. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about that and what they would need to do to sort of get started with you.
Yeah, so absolutely. Working with a company, that is a big thing. There's a lot of companies out there that have a business name, they have a website, they build decks, they do it all. But just like you were saying, Stacy, some of these companies, they're not licensed to even do certain work at all, any work at all, or they could be not even licensed to build a porch. Let me give you an example. There's 3 types of license you can have as being in construction. You have A, B, and C. C is like your typical general contractor. He pretty much can do anything with inside your house or whatever. And there's price ranges to it too. So he can do anything that's typically anything underneath about $10,000. But if they're a C-class license, they're not really certified or qualified in the county to actually build a deck. So that's number 1. B-class license. These are the people that can do work to about up to 25,000+. They can build decks, they can do stuff like that, but they're not qualified to build a porch, for example. So you have a lot of companies out there that will say that they're licensed and certified, but they don't have a B-class license. And if they're trying to sell you a $50,000 porch, technically they are not qualified to do it. So in these case scenarios, just like Stacy is saying, do your due diligence. A lot of these companies will sell you the job and they will subcontract out the job to maybe somebody else who's in the industry to pull the permits. It's not even being done through their company. So there's a huge risk and liability when it comes to that. You typically, but if somebody with a B-class license can do a deck, that's acceptable. But if you're looking to do like a porch or an addition or something like that, you need to find a company that's A-class. It protects you, it protects the company as well. But that is very important. Another thing, and that's just a little education part, but obviously anybody who's on this, watching the recording, or if you're on here is live, is, Stacy and Ed being in the real estate market. A lot of people actually even call us, or Stacy's called us, or the realtors have called us in the past, and they always ask what to look for when they're buying a home when it comes to the outside part. Obviously there's other things inside as well, but for example, decks nowadays, when you go into a home and let's just say there's already an existing deck there, you can, if it's an old wood deck, you can, a lot of the times the structure of the deck is pretty good. We can just strip it down and then just resurface it with a composite material like a Trex or any kind of form of composite. And if it's, sometimes people want to go into the home where it's already there and ready, and that's great and dandy because it's already there. But if you're buying a home, sometimes people, when they go to the house, they go, oh, I don't like this deck. It's still less expensive for you to actually do that yourself, and you can customize it any way you want. Obviously, that's what a lot of people do, but it does help the property value as well over time. So, for example, I know when Stacy is selling a home, or Ed selling commercial properties, it's like the analogy of, if you go into a neighborhood and there's, let's just say there's 10 homes in that neighborhood that are for sale, the house that has the kitchen with granite is going to sell quicker than the house that has kitchen with steel laminate countertops. It applies the same to a composite deck. People want to go in there and have a composite deck versus a wood deck, but sometimes you can buy it already done, and then you can actually do it yourself. So there are some benefits. So when you're buying, you can either do the deck yourself and redo it, or if you're going to sell, we have a lot of people, Stacy has referred us people a lot of times, with a lot of realtors reach out to us. Same scenario, if they are a seller and they're looking to sell their home, and same analogy, if the kitchen has laminate and all the other houses have granite, they probably should upgrade to the granite. Same thing in the decks. If the outside, if it's an old wood deck and they're going to sell, and let's just say there's 10, same analogy, 10 homes in the community, 8 of them have maintenance-free decks, the other 2 are wood. Those other houses with the composite maintenance-free decks, they're going to sell first. So that's another thing too. If you're not just a buyer and you're looking to sell, you want to upgrade. Yes, we can talk about. I'm pretty sure Stacy will ask more questions, but there's different levels and what you can do to the composites. But every single year when it comes to a seller, we have people every year that call us. We come out. Of course, they don't want to put any money out of pocket, right? Because you're trying to profit the most. They're already paying the realtor fees. They don't want to have to put any more investments in there. But the house doesn't sell. They're not taking the advice from the realtor. The house has been on the market for months. Is it really going to make that much of a difference if we put $10,000 into this deck? And every single time, as soon as they redo the deck, the house sells in less than a week. Same analogy like with kitchens and bathrooms and all that stuff. So I hope that answered the question. I was kind of a little all over the place for you, but I hope
that's okay. That's okay. One of the questions is, what do I need to do ahead of time myself, or does the deck contractor do this? As far as, does my HOA allow this? Do I need to submit anything beforehand, or do I get permission after? I just don't even know how it works. How does it work?
That's a great question. So a lot of communities, obviously, if you live in a neighborhood that has an HOA, you have to pretty much go through the HOA to ask for, permission, or that you can actually use the composites. Our company, for example, we do help you with that process. A lot of companies do, but there's some companies that do not. It can be a huge headache if the company does not take care of it for you, because they're just like the DMV. You go to the DMV, you're missing a document, you're denied, you got to come back the following month. And in most communities in a neighborhood, the HOA typically only meets once a month, sometimes twice a month, depending on the time of the year. But we do help assist you with that, because you need to apply, make sure you're following the architectural covenants guidelines. A lot of the newer neighborhoods, when you're driving around, if you notice, almost every single deck looks white, meaning the outside, and I can show you some pictures later, Stacy, if you want to help me share my screen. But most of the decks, they all have either they call them the fascia, so the vertical pieces like your posts, the railings, they either have to match the trim of the siding. So in a lot of the neighborhoods you go around, that's why you see so much white, because almost all the trim is white. Your gutters are white, your windows are white. But some homes might have more of like a tan or an almond. Stacy, I know your guys was more of like an almond tan, but
right.
You have to follow the architectural committee guidelines. What happens if you do it? Some people will say, oh, no, you know what? We're not going to do it. We're just going to do it ourselves. Who cares? Nobody's going to know this. People have done that before in the past. And if you're not getting approved through the committee, sometimes they can come back and fine you. They can, if you say I'm not paying the fine, they can put a lien on your home. It could later on, it could stop the sale of the process. So you want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence and go through the procedure. But that's why a company like Prodeck, we do help you, assist you with that. We make it very simple and painless for you. All we do is just get some of your information. We'll put together what they call a digital CAD rendering and examples and pictures of what your deck's going to look like. and you just go through the process. But that's a very, very important question because many people don't understand how that works. And the fact that you can have a company that will take care of it for you, it takes away the headache. Just imagine if you told me, you said, hey, I got to renew my license. And we say, hey, our company, Prodeck, will go to the DMV for you. So that's kind of the analogy it works. We just make it completely painless. But you definitely want to make sure you follow the guidelines because I have seen it before when not only people do it, and they got to go through the process again if they get caught or somebody tells them, maybe you got a nosy neighbor or something like that, and they wind up telling on you, again, they can fine you. Sometimes they can say, hey, listen, we don't approve it, so it's either you take it down or we're going to put a lien on your home. And that can happen. I've seen it happen before.
Right.
Certainly.
And I don't know this for sure, but I think that if the homeowner pulls the permit, that they're liable as opposed to the contractor. I'm not sure, but I would prefer the contractor pull it. That way they know what they're pulling, they know what they're doing. And I know that you've done a great job with everyone, including us, that you've helped with getting all that stuff square. It's just a peace of mind knowing that you're going to do it from soup to nuts. You're going to take care of the whole process. So
very true. And the permit, you brought up a good point, Stacy. The permit is very, very important. We do pull the permits. Most companies should if you find a good company, but some companies, they don't do it. They require the homeowner to do it. That's just a way of a company trying to buy time, because if you do it, they know it's going to take longer. It's also a red flag if they're trying to push the permit process on the homeowner, because maybe, like they said, they're one of those companies I told you about. They got a legit website. They show up in a company logo shirt, but they're not certified. They're not licensed to build the deck. So they put that on you. So the liability does fall back on you and not the company.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm, exactly. Let's talk a little bit more about your materials. And I know that people have probably heard the word Trex, but just in case, can you tell us a little bit about it, your materials, and do you do anything without that type of material? Like, let's just talk about all the materials and things that you guys use.
Yes, of course. So we Prodeck, we primarily probably build 95% of our projects are with composite, meaning Trex. Now, sometimes people, when they think Trex, they think everything's Trex. It's almost like we associate tissue to a Kleenex, right? You say, give me a Kleenex, we'll fill a tissue. Well, Trex is just a brand, and there are dozens of other brands out there. Trex has probably been around. They have been around the longest. They are the first. They kind of pioneered and engineered the game. There are other materials out there. You guys can go online and just do a Google search for composites. There's dozens of them. We primarily tend to work more with Trex than any other product just because the quality of the product is so good. They have a 25-year warranty. Now, all the other companies have warranties as well. They all have to copy Trex or any other nicer companies out there because you got to keep up with the Joneses, right, when it comes to the quality and stuff like that. For us, we really believe that Trex is an excellent product. And again, we're not a representative for Trex. We just build more with Trex than anything. But for education purpose, Trex, in our opinion, is one of the better products because it is, number one, if you're in Virginia, obviously, if you're on the Zoom, you know, Stacy, and that Trex is actually manufactured in Winchester, Virginia, and they've supplied over 60% of the marketplace when it comes to composite worldwide, not just in the U.S. So it just goes to show you their quality control. Every single deck board or piece of railing that is being made is tested in their facility, every single piece. A lot of other companies, they just mass produce it. They send it out to the big box retailers or lumber yards. If it's damaged, they send it back. So it's just a little bit more quality control. They do a lot of market research when it comes to the colors. So when they release a color, the color sticks and the color stays. Why is that important? Let me give you an example. There's other companies out there, and I'm not going to say their names, and I'm not here to bash any other companies, but let's just say that they come out with this new color. It seems like it's going to be popular. It sells well for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden, it doesn't sell. What does the company do? They pull it. They discontinue it. Let's just say 2 years later, you got some deck boards you want to replace, or maybe you want to add more of an addition to your deck, and then you go to find that material. It's no longer available. Good luck finding it. I'll give you an example, a case scenario. We did a project for a customer that wanted to add a waterproofing system. So we had to take all the decking off. Now, when you add the waterproofing system, the deck grows a little bit. Not to bore you with the details of the construction, but make a long story short, when we take it all apart and we put the boards back on because they were all on an angle, there were still a few boards that were short. This lady had purchased this product through a very, very big company name. And once we put the rain escape system, when we got to the end, we were about 4 boards short. And I told the lady before we started, you may want to look into this because they may not have, oh, no, we just got this 3 years ago. It's impossible. Long story short, we were finished with the job and she had 3 boards short and she was really upset. She tried to call the company. Guess what? The boards were discontinued. They no longer made them. So we tried to find a board that matched it. She hated it. I mean, it was pretty close in color, but obviously it's your deck. You notice it, right? It's like having a red car and a different, you got to get your door paint. It's a different red. So luckily for this lady, she was able to, I told her, I said, you need to call that corporate company and go all the way up the chain. She wanted it reaching the VP of the company, and that VP called the entire country, all of the lumber yards. And luckily, they found some deck boards that were just left over in the lumber yard. But here's what happened. The company gave her the deck boards for free, but the shipping, they were like coming from like Utah or something like that, was like $1,500 for 4 deck boards. So here's a good example of, you know, why Trex is a better product versus other ones. Number one, the market research, the quality control, and it's been around a long time. Now, composite versus wood, what's the benefits? Obviously, wood, if you're not taking care of it, it's just going to weather over time. You're going to get a lot of the cracking and splitting. You get splinters. You get board pops. When the boards are there, they start to twist up. And look, we're all, what do you call it? Creatures of habit, right? Or, you know, whatever, I forget the terminology, but
yes,
most of us, we don't take the time to do it. You might do it once. Ed, myself, we've all done it. I might have stained my wood decks when I had wood decks, maybe once or twice, and then I said, I'm not doing this anymore, just because it's such a pain in the butt. It's tedious. It takes a lot of time. First did, I thought it was fun. Oh, I'm power washing my deck, and then 3 hours later, I'm not even halfway done. And then next thing you know, you do it once, and then over the years, you neglect it, and then within 10 years, your boards look like crap. You got to replace them. You may not have to replace the whole deck, but you got to replace all the wood boards again. You pull them up, you got to put them back down, then you got to restain it. So if you take the investment and invest now, you're going to save more money over time versus doing a wood deck. Ed and Stacy are a perfect example of this. Now, granted, when they bought the house, it may not have had it, but they already had to replace their decking once. Now they'll never have to replace it. So the benefits are definitely a positive. Another question we get a lot is, well, I heard a lot that the composite is hotter than wood. How much hotter is it than wood? It is hotter because it does have a PVC coating that goes around the material, but that also prevents it from staining, from fade. You don't have to worry about mold. You don't have to worry about mildew. But I tell people all the time that if it's too hot to be on wood, it's too hot to be on anything. Now, it sounds a little cliche, but the way it is, most people, they think as soon as they get a composite deck, no more splinters, right? So then they go outside with bare feet. But you wouldn't do that on your old weathered deck just because if it's 100 degrees outside, just because you're protecting your feet from splinters. So it does get hotter. It is a little bit hotter, but you don't have to worry about splinters. You don't have to worry about cracking. And a lot of the decking systems nowadays, they're installed with hidden fasteners, meaning you don't see any nails or screws going through the top of the boards. So,
and is it safe for your pets?
It is, yeah, it is very safe for your pets. That's a good question too, because depending on the level of the Trex that you get, there is a thickness of the PVC coating that goes around it. So let me see if I can just draw something on a piece of paper just to show you an example. So let's just say that this is the deck, this is the core, right?
Right.
All the decking, they have a PVC coating that goes around it like this. So that PVC coating is what prevents it from the stain, fade, mold, and mildew. The thicker it is, the more realistic they can make the grain detail look on there. So a lot of times when homeowners are looking at it, they see color and texture. But the thicker it is, the harder it is to scratch. So when people go for those entry-level deckings, it's still better than wood by any means, but let's just say you have a dog that's over 60 pounds, or you've got heavy gauge aluminum furniture, you know, when you're getting up and sliding back and forth and the dogs are energetic and they're running outside, and it's PVC, so they'll run in place, right? Like we used to see in Scooby-Doo. They will scuff it. It's not going to scratch through it, but it will scuff it. If you homeowners have dogs and you have wood floors on the inside,
Sure. Same
you know
thing.
what I'm talking about. So same thing. So the thicker the PVC coating is, it's like the old saying, you get what you pay for. I always encourage people, if it's within the budget, go with the higher end. It's not because the companies, or at least for us, it's not because we want to sell you a higher priced product. We want to sell you quality. We value quality over quantity, because a lot of companies they'll sell you the cheapest stuff because they're trying to sell you on price.
Right.
And that kind of makes me think about, as well as there's different qualities of even the railings. You have vinyl rail, you've got PVC, and then you have Trex actually makes a full composite. Other companies make a full composite too. So when you're doing your due diligence, just do your homework on that stuff as well. Another common question is did it still get the algae like that green film on it? Or like people think it's mold, but it's just algae, mildew, whatever. Right. You just power wash it. You can power wash it. You can even take a damp cloth and wipe it down. You might have to scrub it a little bit harder, but power washing is the easiest way to clean that stuff up. But yeah, it's very simple to maintain. But yes, hope to answer your question.
We talked about serving the Northern Virginia area, and I want to ask you to go ahead and list the area specifically that you serve, in case people are wondering if you come out to their area.
Yeah, so we primarily just do Northern Virginia, Fairfax County, Prince William County, and Loudoun County. Those are the only counties we serve. We do some Fauquier stuff as well, but we pretty much don't go past Fredericksburg going south, and we don't go over the Beltway. So if you're in Loudoun, Fairfax, or Prince William, you're pretty golden.
Okay. And do you have a fee for travel or anything like that?
No, we come out, we give you the estimate for free, give you a free consultation, and you're personally going to meet with me. We don't have any sales guys. We used to have sales guys, but nothing wrong with salespeople, but salespeople sometimes can be misleading. And for us as a company, it's too much of a headache to take a risk. Jason said he was going to throw in this, and Jason said he was going to do that. So that's another benefit of working with a company like ourselves, is you're dealing directly with the partners. You're not dealing with, hey, this guy took my $10,000 check and I haven't heard from him in months. So the communication process is dealing directly with us too.
Right, exactly. Now, what about lighting? Let's say I want my deck to have lighting. Do you cover that? Something you offer, lighting?
Yeah, so you can have extra lighting options. The stairs is a code requirement. Unless you have a light that is displayed on the side that can illuminate the deck the stairway, but the stairs, lighting in the stairs is a code requirement unless you have a light that can illuminate it. That's included in your costs, obviously, because you have to have it. And then they can add extra like ambient lighting, post cap lighting, post lightings. We can even do some recessed lighting, like in the deck surface itself, kind of give it a really neat feature. So yeah, there are many options. It's all low voltage, so it's not hardwired. It's just low voltage. It's like your landscaping lighting. If you see homes that have that, it just has a photocell sensor. They come on at night. We go off during the day. They have an on-off dial on it, or you can even put it on a timer. Meaning, if I say I put it on 6 hours because you don't want the lights on all night. Right now it gets dark about 8:30. So if you had it on for 6 hours, it would turn off about 4 o'clock, 4:30.
Okay. What kind of materials do you use for patios? That's a different, that's different from decking. So what would you use for that? What are our options?
Good question. Obviously, hence the name Prodeck Construction. We do hardscape stuff as well. So we do concrete, just regular brush concrete. We do not do stamped concrete. Reason being is concrete by nature will crack. So we tend to stay away from the stamped concrete. It is a little bit cheaper in the cost versus doing pavers or flagstone, but we stay away just because it can crack. So if you're thinking about using stamped concrete, do your homework. Find a company that's been doing it a very, very long time. But we do regular concrete. We do pavers. Pavers is just basically like a man-made looking stone. Most people, when they think pavers, they think brick. They come in multiple shapes and sizes, different colors, different textures. That's going to be probably the most commonly picked. And then obviously you have natural stone, like your Pennsylvania flagstone, travertine. There's all kinds of different forms of stone you can use. Most companies, when they use pavers, they install it on gravel and sand. There's nothing wrong with that. It is the recommended use for most manufacturers. We install it on a concrete base because over time, with being in 4 seasons with rain, snow, all that other stuff, erosion, new construction, the patios over time will tend to sink and dip in certain areas. So it's going to cost you more money over time repairing that. So we actually put it on a concrete base so the patio will never sink or heave. So we would do it the same as if we were doing on flagstone or travertine. We do retaining walls, we do fireplaces, we do fire pits. We can build large pavilions, large gazebos. We can run gas and water out there if you want to have a small kitchen. We build custom kitchens if you want to do like some hardscape outdoor. What else? Pergolas. You name it. If it's any kind of hardscape, the only thing we do not do, is a common question, is do you do the landscaping part? We do not do the landscaping part. I'm pretty sure you can reach out to Stacy and that. There's in the area, there's a lot of great companies that they work with. Yeah. But we just, our specialties are decks, porches, patios, and obviously retaining walls and hardscape stuff like that.
So if we do an outside kitchen type thing, we'll take care of the plumbing and those things as well?
Yeah, we can run the plumbing out. We can run electrical out there. Those are the only things that we do subcontract out. The people that we use are our friends, and we only use them.
Okay. Jason, do you also do windows? Like you've seen our porch before, and it actually has windows.
Plumbing and electrical. What's that?
Do you also do windows? You've seen our porch before. It has windows. Like some people do porches and they want to be able to enclose it in the winter.
Yeah, we can put windows in. There's other systems out there, even called it's called Easy Breeze. They're like vinyl windows, so you can do stuff like that as well. We can do that as well. So you think it, we can build it, we can make it. The only thing we don't do as a company, Prodeck Construction, is we don't do full additions. So if you're looking to add a 4-season room, meaning you want, we stay away from it. It's not our expertise.
Right. Okay, great. Well, we really appreciate you being here today. We wanted to make sure people know how to get in touch with you. I know your website is prodeckconstructionva.com. And on that, I believe there's a way to contact you, but to get in touch with you quickly, how would someone get in touch with you, Jason?
Yeah, either go to our websites. You can also look us up on Facebook. If you guys want to see some of our pictures, we have tons and tons of pictures on Facebook. You can just look us up. It's just Prodeck Construction LLC. You'll probably see our little logo. Contact us there, but you also can reach out to me directly too. I'll just put my cell phone number out there, 703-622-2606. Stacy can probably send it out as well to you.
I will.
You can reach out to me directly or call our office and make an appointment.
Okay, super. And do you have online appointments, or we talk to you directly for an appointment? Do you have appointments where we can make them online, Jason? Jason?
There you go.
Okay, sorry, lost you for a second.
Yeah,
can you make an appointment?
You froze up for a second.
That's okay. Can you make an appointment online, or you just call you for the appointment?
Yeah, you can either call me, you can go to our website, you can fill out a form, and we'll contact you and set up an appointment.
Okay.
We pretty much will run Monday through Friday. We don't work on the weeks. Neither do our crews when it comes to construction, because we value our families, our families and their families' time. So anytime during the week, Monday through Friday, and same thing with the crews. Okay.
Terrific. Well, thank you so much for being our guest today.
We froze again.
We froze again. Whoops.
There you are.
That's all right. That's all right.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much for being our special guest today. I'm going to go ahead and post this with all your information about how people can contact you. And if anyone needs help with real estate, residential or commercial, definitely give us a call here at the Martin DreamToHOME Team. We're happy to help you. 703-795-3959, and have a great weekend.
Thank you. And just a quick testimony for you guys. I met Stacy and Ed through my wife, which met them through a B&I group or something like that. But Stacy and Ed are awesome people. We all know a realtor. We all have a friend who does real estate, but it's hard to find somebody who's aggressive, because a lot of times people will call a realtor and all they do is they just put you up on the MLS, right? They just put your listing up there, and then guess what? The buyer agent's doing all the work. But if you're a seller, these guys go to work for you. They've helped us with property, and Ed's actually helped us with commercial properties for my wife's business. So as a testimonial, these guys actually go to work for you. They're not just some people that say, yeah, we'll do our work and put your stuff up on MLS. But, they're aggressive, and that's hard to find in a realtor because, so anyway, that's testimony back to you guys. We love working with you. And if you guys are in business, network with them, because they have sent me tons of business and we send referrals back to them. So, keep that in mind. But thanks again, guys, for having me, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Jason, so much
Jason.
for that.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Jason. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.